All right. Good morning. My name is Manna Abdulwahab, and I serve as a senator for Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication and the Student Government Association Senate. And I'm also the chair of the Committee on Campus Services, which focuses on issues and concerns related to services utilized by students, including but not limited to parking and transportation, dining services, and housing at the University of Georgia. Based on student demands, the Senate has compiled a summer town hall series where we're bringing on administrators, and together we're going to be answering questions that students and parents are asking. So today I'm excited to have our first guest, who is from University Housing, Carrie Campbell. So if Ms. Campbell, you will please introduce yourself as well as what University Housing does.
Sure. Thank you, Minna. Thank you for having me here. I'm really excited to talk to everybody this morning or afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Like Minna said, I'm Carrie Campbell and I'm with University Housing. We're here to answer any questions you may have about move-in or how things are going to work during the fall. I am the senior public relations coordinator, which means I'm in charge of all communications for housing. So you may have seen my name, you may have seen e-newsletters or the FAQ online or social media. Those are all ways that we're trying to let you know what to expect when you move in.
Perfect. So thank you so much for that. And now we're going to jump into our questions, which have been submitted by students and parents. So our first question is, how will move-in operate this fall?
Yeah, so normally move-in, we have a couple of days of time slots for people moving in just for traffic and parking reasons. This year we are having 4 days of time slots. So August 14th through 17th, anyone moving in on those days will need an arrival time slot. And that's really to limit the number of people we have on campus at one time. There is no limit to how long it takes you to move in once you check in during your time slot, but we're asking people to arrive as close as that time slot as possible. It's a 15-minute window, so we can limit the lines in the lobbies and the elevators and things like that. Really trying to make sure that we are keeping as few people in those public areas as possible given the scope of move-in. So again, no limit to how long it takes you to move in. However, there will be, as usual, a unloading zone time limit of 1 hour. So you can park in an unloading zone for 1 hour, and then we'll ask you to move your car to a long-term parking lot just to give some parking spaces closer to the building to those people with later time slots. So again, time slots for the 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. If you're moving in the 18th or the 19th, you do not need an arrival time slot. You can arrive at any time. So it's not super different in the way that it's structured, but you will notice if you've moved in with us before, some differences as far as we'll have some check-in stations to make sure that people aren't gathering all huge amounts of people in one area. We're limiting elevators to one family at a time, things like that. So you'll see some differences, but we're really confident that this is the best we can do and within the recommendations that we have to get people moved in safely.
All right. Our second question is, how will social distancing look in the residence halls, and what will happen to the communal bathrooms?
Yeah, so social distancing will be up to students. So we really want you to make sure that you're keeping those 6 feet. Once you move in, you will be considered a unit with your roommates or any roommates you have. Y'all are a unit, just like you are maybe with your family at home now. So consider that as well. You can still keep 6 feet away from your roommate. Some people may plan on sleeping head to toe. So, if you're in beds that are next to each other like this, somebody's head's at the window, somebody's head's at the door. That might be a great way when you're in the room. But, just be considerate of your roommates. Clean things, wipe things down. You're not required to wear a mask in your dorm room, but you will when you go, as soon as you step foot out of it. As far as the community bathrooms go, normally we clean and disinfect those once a day and then have kind of a touch up at the end of the day. Now we are going to disinfect those community bathrooms 3 times a day. Suite and apartment bathrooms, we will not be cleaning. So normally if you lived in a suite, O House, Rutherford, Building 1516, places like that, we would come in once a week and clean, but to limit the number of people going into your space, into student spaces, we will just give you the cleaning supplies and the instructions to do that and allow you to clean those yourself. So I just want to kind of emphasize that we have upped the protocols. We bring them more rigorous with the way we clean things. But residents really need to take precautions too, like do the things you're supposed to do. Stay 6 feet apart, wash your hands, wear your mask. And that way, hopefully we can be as healthy as possible.
How has security changed for the fall?
So we have a couple of differences to security. The first being that we have disabled the pin pads on the secure entrances. So ordinarily you would scan your ID and then enter a 4-digit PIN number to get into your residence hall. As of March, we disabled those PIN pads. We still do have students living with us through the spring semester and the summer semester, and that's worked really well to kind of stop that being a touch point where people are constantly touching the same thing as others. So that's one difference. So you won't need a PIN number initially. We will reinstate that when we feel like it is appropriate to do so. The second one is we're asking students not to have visitors in your assigned space, so in your room. Again, we all know the reasons for that, to kind of keep people as far away from each other as possible, to make sure that we're not bringing in anything in to the rooms from other buildings or anyone who may be infected or sick. So we're asking people to not have visitors. If the pandemic changes for the good, in a good way, we'll rethink that. The thing is that we're going to be totally nimble with our policies this year and adapt as we go to the situation.
So what will happen if my roommate becomes infected?
Yeah, so we've had this question a lot. Basically, I want to point out two different things. So there's isolation and quarantine, and I'm going to talk about both of those. Isolation is if a person is sick and we need to isolate them from the population. If a student is positive or presumed to be positive, our staff will support them as best they can, and they'll be isolated on campus for 14 days, or they have the option to go home. The thing is that we will work with that student. If they're on campus, we'll supply them linens. They can take what they need with them. We'll supply them a disinfection kit. And we'll also help them connect with their faculty and other on-campus services such as dining services as well. But they are also welcome to go home and isolate. If a student is quarantined, that means they're not sick. It's what we're all doing. But they may have been exposed. So if that happens, we're going to place them in quarantine in their own space on campus, or they will be allowed to go home as well for 14 days. So that's kind of what happened. Like if you get sick, you'll have an option to go home or isolate on campus. If a roommate potentially gets sick, it could be a close friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, then we will quarantine those people who've been exposed for 14 days as well. And you can also do that at home or on campus.
How will student employees like RACs and DAs be prepared for the transition back?
Sure. So RAs and CAs every summer receive a long week of training before they step onto campus. Well, they step onto campus and then receive a long week of training. The same will be for the rest of the student staff. So our DAs are now called CSAs, Customer Service Assistants, and they have some more responsibilities as they have in the past. But they go through training every year. The CSAs will be trained on handling keys with gloves, disinfecting keys, disinfecting the desk, things like that. The RAs will know how to respond if a resident discloses that they may be sick, as well as how to communicate with other residents, should a hallmate be isolated or quarantined. So those are just kind of additional things that we're gonna make sure that our student staff know and are prepared to handle as we move into this semester.
What are other precautions that should be taken for the safety and well-being of students who live in the residence halls?
Sure. So the health and safety of residents is our highest priority, not only in housing, but at UGA. So we revised our cleaning protocols. We've increased the frequency of touch point cleaning and disinfection. We've added soap dispensers. We've added paper towel dispensers. We've added hand sanitation stations and wipe dispensers. But above all, we're really counting on students and residents to take responsibility for themselves and their peers. This whole thing only works if people take those simple precautions we've talked about: masks, social distancing, hand washing. All of that really will be on residents to make sure that they are doing that for themselves and make sure they're keeping their peers accountable for doing that as well.
What is the best way to stay connected with university housing updates?
Of course. So we do have our frequently asked questions section on the housing website. We are also sending weekly e-newsletters out to students, all students who have a residence hall contract for fall. So look for those e-newsletters. They got lots of great videos in them. Supporters can get those too by subscribing either on Facebook or in the footer of the housing newsletter. In August, we'll also, or in the footing of the housing website, sorry. In August, we'll also be on New Student Orientation's podcast that they've been having for the summer. So look for that. You can listen to that podcast maybe on your way to move in, because it'll be all about what move in will look like during this semester, the 14th through the 17th.
What advice would you give to incoming students during this time?
Basically, nobody can guarantee anyone's health and well-being anytime, pandemic or no, on campus or off campus. So my advice would be follow the guidelines. The science tells us that if we work together, we consider our neighbors, we follow the guidelines, masks, again, social distancing, hand washing, we should be fine. So we wouldn't move people in otherwise. If we had told that it wasn't safe to do so, we wouldn't be moving people in. So it's really up to people to make those or take that responsibility on themselves, as well as for us to increase our cleaning, disinfecting protocols as well. So just do the things, basically.
All right, and what are you most looking forward to in the fall?
So ordinarily I would say football. Fingers crossed that we still can safely have football. But other than that, I think some of my fellow staff members and I had talked about this, that we're really excited to see how UGA can come together as a community. You know, we have a fantastic opportunity here to show other schools how we can come together and do things the right way, the Georgia way. So I would love to see UGA held up as an example of how we work together to make college a healthy place to be. We can do that. I know our community is strong, and I know that we have that consideration for others, that we can really be a shining example of how to do this right. So that's really exciting to me.
Well, Ms. Campbell, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. We invite all parents and students to visit housing at uga.edu to learn more about university housing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Minna.
All right, so we are now going to be with our second guest for today, who are from the Department of Dining Services. We have Brian Varnon and Allison Bronin. So Mr. Varnon and Ms. Bronin, if you'll please introduce yourself as well as what your department oversees on campus.
Sure. Thanks for having us this morning. We're really glad to be here. We've got a lot of great information to share with everyone today about what dining services will be doing in August to provide safe and healthy and great services to all of you on campus for when we return. So my name is Brian Varnon. I'm the Executive Director of Dining Services. I also serve as an interim Associate Director in Auxiliary Services, providing some administrative support there as well. I've been on campus since 2002, so I've been around the block a few times here on campus, but I can honestly say that I've never seen anything like what we're facing when we come back. But that's okay, because we've been planning very hard and diligently ever since we went to online learning back in late March to prepare for what we are looking at come August. And we've been working with the Department of Public Health, and we're certainly following CDC guidelines as prescribed, and doing all the right things, we think, and we hope, to ensure that when you return in the fall, that we are providing healthy and, more importantly, safe environments and food options for our campus community, because the safety of our community is what's in the forefront of our minds, not only for students, but the safety for our staff members and our team members and faculty members on campus too, and quite honestly for myself. So, we're all in this together, and we're all concerned about, staying as healthy as we can be, and that's our goal. So that's what we've been focusing all of our planning on, and we will continue to do that because that's what's most important right now, and that's where we are. So with that, I'll turn it over to Allison for an introduction.
Yep, my name is Allison Brannon, and I am the Marketing and Communications Manager for Auxiliary Services. So my team helps support the marketing and communication needs for dining services, transportation and parking services, the golf course, the bookstore, and vending services. So we're very excited for this opportunity to be able to come and share some of our plans with you all. So thank you.
Thank you so much for those introductions, and we're going to jump right into our first question. So how will social distancing be implemented in the dining halls?
It's a really good question. It's something we've been focused on for many months now as we've gone through the different phases and as we're preparing for the new phases to come along as we deal with COVID-19. We've got a lot of things that we're doing in the dining halls and in the retail operations, and I really think that this would be and Allison, help me out with this if you can. This might be a great opportunity for us to show the videos that we put together, because we've got a video that we shot just last week in Bolton that shows how the flow of customers and the different methods of service that we're going to have to promote social distancing and safety in the residential dining halls. And then we've also got an example from Bulldog Cafe over at Tate Center that we can share as well. And these videos will be shared with the campus community and with students across the board. And one thing that I would like to say is, as we go into these videos and we look at them, they're very good indications of where our current planning methods are now. We're very confident that these are going to be well received, they're going to be safe, but we're also focusing on flexibility. So as we think about flexibility and we think about what will happen and what might be coming our way when everyone is back on campus, we're keeping an open mind to look at our plans and to constantly analyze our plans and make adjustments to plans as needed or if needed. But for right now, these are the plans that we have. We're confident they're going to work. So Allison, if you could take it from here, that'd be great.
Yeah, and just to confirm, Brian, can you see my screen at this point?
I can see your screen.
So before we show these videos, I'd also like to just go ahead and point out that we do manage a notifications page on the dining services website where we keep all of our updates about return to campus plans and any changes that we're experiencing. So if you want to look for the most up-to-date information, you can come to our website. We have this alert bar at the top that links to dining notifications, and also our main slideshow here on the website will link to that. Or you can directly go to the page by just going to dining.uga.edu/notifications. And so on this page, you'll see we have our temporarily adjusted dining procedures. And this goes through the 3 different ways that you'll be able to dine in the residence dining halls if you have a meal plan, and talks about some of our retail operations as well. And then we have a good number of frequently asked questions that we've been hearing from students, and we try to keep these up to date on the website as well. So you may want to check this out, see if some of the questions you have are answered here. And you can always reach out to us as well if you have additional questions.
Great, perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that information, also for the videos. They're definitely very informative. So a popular question we also received is whether the food options would be changing for the upcoming semester.
Yeah, so we are making modifications to menus. The reason we're doing that is to promote social distancing and flow of customers through our units. The retail locations, not so much there. Those locations are already set up in a to-go style environment. Those menus are not as extensive by nature as what we see in the residential dining halls. But in the residential dining halls and the volume that we see there, we have made decisions to do menu modifications. We're still focusing on things like variety We're still focusing on things like dietary needs. So, having vegetarian options, vegan options, gluten-free options, things of that nature. And also too, focusing on specialties from different units. So for example, Bolton has Lemongrass Kitchen, that was a new concept that we introduced just last year, and it's been extremely popular. We're modifying things, and whereas Lemongrass is a station, because of the way that we have the line set up, may not be an option as a station, we're still going to have Lemongrass Kitchen menu options available in other areas of the building for students to take advantage of. And we try to take that approach across the board to different areas. So for example, we know that O Hacienda is extremely popular at O House. We want to make sure that O Hacienda menu items are still offered on the menu in some way, shape, or form. Also, too, we discovered this last year, the addition of the chicken fingers fries and the chicken finger dipping sauce at O House turned out to be extremely popular last year when we brought that back. We're going to keep that on the menu. You're going to be able to get an individual pizza from the Summit, sandwiches from Snelling, like a cheesesteak or a burger, or what have you. But you'll see commonalities across the board of shared menu items, but then you'll also see the specialty items from individual units that we're still focused on offering as well. So yes, there will be some modifications and things will look different, but we're trying really hard and working really hard with our culinary team to ensure that we've still got that variety and we've still got that fresh food, healthy food, and food items that meet a cross-section of dietary needs as well. Allison, do you want to add anything to that?
No, Brian, I think you covered that pretty well.
Students are also wondering how student employees will be following CDC guidelines.
Well, that's a really good question too, and I want to take that to a little bit higher of a level and think bigger on that one. The health and safety of all of our team members and really all of our campus community is our priority. So when we think about student employees, we couldn't do what we do on a daily basis without student employees. The ratio of student employees to other employees in our department in dining service is about 2 to 1. So that ratio will tell you that we rely upon student help to get the job done, and we value that. And I'd like to use this opportunity to let everyone know that dining services is actively recruiting and hiring for student employment positions. Flexible schedules, meal benefits in there, lots of perks, and good working environments. So, if you need a job and you're looking for something that's challenging and fun, come see us because we need your help in the fall. But we're also committed to keeping you safe, our team members safe, everybody safe across the board. You'll notice in the videos, the masks. I've got mine right here. Wear your masks when you come in. We will be wearing masks too. As of today, we have a mask mandate on campus. As far as I know, that will stay into effect. I certainly hope that it does. I'm in my office right now. The door is closed. I'm okay not wearing a mask. The moment I walk out, my mask goes on. You're going to see that with all of our employees within dining services and team members within dining services, including students and our full-time and part-time employees. We've also installed protective barriers, and you saw that in the video. Cashier stands have protective barriers, both in the residential and retail locations. That's to provide that physical barrier between people for extra added methods of protection. All of our serving lines have been converted from self-serve to served. So we're going to be serving customers in our residential locations as opposed to having that self-serve environment. That is a heightened level of protection for team members and customers as well. According to the Department of Public Health, when any employee arrives into any of our facilities, we're going to ask them a series of questions. Those questions are confidential. We're not going to record them, but we're going to ask things like, how are you feeling today? Have you had a fever? Have you had any of these symptoms associated with COVID-19? If the answers to any of those questions are yes, then we take appropriate steps, and certainly that team member won't work that shift that day. Even if maybe they just have allergies or something of that nature, it's still a symptom related to COVID-19 potentially, and they won't work. So we're taking a lot of steps to really, and we're receiving a lot of guidance from the Department of Public Health, and that's what's most important. DPH, CDC, they're really giving us good guidelines to follow. We're going to adhere to those. You know, one of the things that I say often these days, in my position at least, is that not only are we committed to providing great dining opportunities and great service and all these things, but never have I ever felt so committed, and never have we ever felt so committed as a team in ensuring that everyone that comes into our facilities are protected to the best of our abilities. And that not only includes customers, but it includes student employees, full-time employees, all of us across the board. We want to stay healthy. That is our number one commitment. That is our number one priority. And we are going to stick to that moving forward. And we commit to that 100% across the board. So our employees are very valuable to us. We are very much like a working family within dining services. We're going to take care of our family. That's our goal.
Great, perfect. So our final question here is, what advice would you give to incoming students during this time?
Download the Grubhub app. Grubhub is your friend in this whole scenario. Not only if you're in retail dining, but if you're coming to residential dining too, because you can use that Grubhub app to make dining reservations in the dining halls, or you can use that Grubhub app for the grab and go menu as well. I would also encourage students and customers to think twice about using cash as well. We're still going to accept cash when we come back in August, and I think that's good. But there are some things going on out there right now related to cash. There's a national coin shortage right now that's impacting businesses across the country and customers as well. But you know, your electronic forms of payment, and then also to your mobile forms of payment like Grubhub, are really beneficial as we go through this. So I think that, you know, thinking about how you're going to pay for things if you're in a retail environment, downloading the Grubhub app, keeping in mind that the residential dining facilities will only be open to meal plan customers when we come back. And that's a change from the past, but it's a needed change to help us manage the crowds and the flow of customers as they come through. Our goal is not to maintain that forever. Our goal is to open that back up when it's appropriate to do so, but keep that in mind. Another key thing that I would convey to students across the board if they're on a meal plan, Bolton is our singularly busiest meal plan location across the board. On a typical day in a typical year, which we are not in that environment, but Bolton can see upwards of 8,500 to 9,000 customers come through the doors on a daily basis. You compare that to O House, which is only a few hundred yards away. O House may only see 3,000 to 3,500 customers come through. Snelling, same kind of numbers. Summit's a little higher than that. Keep in mind when we come back, there are great dining opportunities across campus. Bolton is not the only choice. I get it. It's convenient. It's close to Tate Center. It's close to a lot of residence halls, but branch out a little bit. Go explore other areas. Don't feel compelled to go to Bolton just because Bolton is where it is. Because Bolton, we want crowds to get away from Bolton and branch out and go to other places. I go back to that student employment piece. We need you. We need you if you need a job. It's a challenging time for us. We always need the help of students to come and work for us. We are committed again to providing a safe work environment, a flexible work environment, a fulfilling work environment for all students on campus, and we will continue to do that. So if you do need money and you do need a job, come see us because we are actively hiring. Other than that, you know, wear your mask. It's mandated, so wear it. You know, it's important. It's important in town too. Athens has a mask mandate that's in place now. They are there for a reason. I'm a believer in the mandates. I think they're important, but if I can offer any advice on that one, let's make sure that we do the right thing and wear the masks. And then also too, if you have questions about what we're doing or you need help navigating the new methods of service, reach out to us. We're always here. If you have nutritional questions, we have registered dietitians on staff. We can help you. If you've got questions about how to use your meal plan because things are a little different, reach out to us. We will help you. We have managers in all of our units. They typically wear red polos. If you've got a question and you're in the unit, reach out to those managers because they can help you navigate the restaurant that you're in as well. But we've also got an extremely talented and committed group of full-time employees, cooks, food service workers, stockroom people. I mean, you name it. They're all committed to help you too. Cashiers as well. One negative thing, you're not going to be able to give Miss Sandra a hug right now. So give her a virtual hug, give her an air hug, do something. But she's going to be here. She's going to be here to welcome you over at Snelling as well. So, but just know that we've been talking extensively since March about how we're going to provide safe and quality dining options for you when you return in August. And we've been talking about that across the board in all of auxiliary services, all of dining services. And we have a great team of dedicated people from top to bottom who are here for you. And if you need us, all you have to do is ask. So we're here. So Allison, any other words of wisdom for everybody out there?
Brian, I think you covered it really well. So I think I'm okay.
Well, thanks.
Well, thank you both so much for taking the time to speak with us today. We invite all parents and students to visit dining at uga.edu to learn more about dining services and if they have any questions. And yeah, thank you guys so much.
One last thing, keep an eye on our website because that notifications page that Allison showed us, we're updating that regularly. It's a great way to find out what's going on and to learn more about the department. So thank you all for having us today.
Thank you. Great. So our third guest today is from the Career Center. Bethany Mills, will you please introduce yourself as well as what Career Center is and does on campus?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my name is Bethany Mills. I'm the Director of Career Development and Programs for the Career Center. Actually just finished up my 10th year at UGA and at the Career Center. So I've served as a career consultant and then also served alumni and then been in this role for the past 2 years. So at the Career Center, we're just really passionate about helping students navigate major exploration, choosing that right major for them, getting the experience that they need. So internships, study abroad, interested in helping them with that, getting connected on campus, leadership skills, and then how to articulate that on your resume and your cover letter or your personal statement for grad school so that we can really make sure you're successful after graduation. So that's kind of why we do everything that we do.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And we're just going to jump right into our questions. So the first question we have is, can you give us some insight on the online resources that the Career Center offers?
Yes, absolutely. So this fall is going to look a little different for us at the Career Center. Everything's going to be virtual and online for us in serving students, but we really do have some amazing online resources. So I'm actually going to share my screen with you all and just highlight a few that I want to showcase. So as I mentioned earlier, articulation of skills, articulation of experience. So if you get these wonderful leadership skills and leadership experiences on campus, being able to put that on a resume in a way that's organized. We've got really great templates that you can pull from on our website. We've also got other job search tools, and you can navigate on our site as well. Everything from career fair, interview prep. So we have big interview that you can practice online. You press that button right there. Some other really great tools that we have as well is Handshake. This is our online job board for students and alumni. So everything from finding that part-time job, we have federal work studies on here as well as part-time jobs on campus, and of course those full-time roles or internships within your college experience, as well as you can navigate and search for employers and follow employers that you're interested in. You can find events that are going on campus at the Career Center, and you can also schedule an appointment with us via Handshake. So we're really encouraging our incoming students to get on Handshake and to make the most use of that resource, because it's really fantastic. I also just wanted to highlight our career guide. So every spring, we have a committee of folks that just get in here in the details and editing, just to make sure that the information that our students are needing right now, follow-up emails, thank you notes, interview questions, behavioral questions, how to do an informational interview, all of that's really in one place that you can access at any time, and that's our career guide. So that's also online. In addition, we have some really great career assessments. So if you're thinking about what type of major you want to major in, or you're just thinking about the classes that you enjoy, as well as, let's say you've got a major that's more broad and you're not quite sure what your options are in terms of careers. We have these amazing resources called What Can I Do with a Major In? It's a very popular resource for our students on campus and our academic advisors. So let's say anthropology is a major you're really interested in. You can actually navigate to that handout to better understand the major, as well as see what previous graduates in that major have gone on to accomplish. So perhaps they've gone to graduate school. You will see a list of graduate schools that they've attended. You can also see internships that they've gotten, job titles, and specific companies, as well as just a lot of really great resources that you can see there to kind of help you be successful in that major. So we really love that resource, and we know our students love that resource as well. And I think those were the online resources I really wanted to highlight for you all right now. But we've also got just some other online resources like the Vault, Big Interview, and Candid Career, which kind of helps with that major and career exploration as well. So our website, an amazing resource.
Absolutely. The second question we have is what is career consulting, and how has career consulting adapted during this pandemic?
Yeah, great question. For us at the Career Center, we are actually organized in a college or major liaison. So that means we have specific career consultants who serve colleges or some specific majors. So for example, anthropology, which I mentioned, the consultant for that is Justin Burnley. If you're in Terry College of Business, you would actually be helped with Toria Carter or Camille Liverpool. So we've got several consultants who serve in those ways. So when we talk about consulting, it could be that quick question that you have about, you just want someone to look over your resume or your cover letter, you've got an internship you want to apply for or a job, and you just want to make sure all your application materials are good to go. We've also got consulting that could just serve as a starting point. So let's say you are an incoming student, you're really not quite sure why you might need the Career Center, but your mom and dad told you should visit. So maybe you come in and you talk to us about your major decision, kind of what you're thinking, and we might help you find that first step in kind of reaching some of your career goals. So it could be a 30-minute session, or it could be a 60-minute session. And I always just really like to show our staff and who they are and what they look like. We're really friendly, welcoming. We want the Career Center to be a safe space for all of our students and for you to really feel like you're getting what you need at the first year and also when you're about to graduate.
Perfect. Can you tell us more about the Summer Learning Series?
Yes. So our Summer Learning Series basically was created as a just-in-time programming for our recent graduates and potentially alumni as well. Current students were also welcome to attend that, but we had really timely topics around networking, how to use Handshake, and also hearing from employers on the current job market. As you know, may have heard from some of your peers, some students were getting internships and then having those offers rescinded. And so we wanted to be able to provide some helpful information for those students to know how to navigate the summer. We also had two other programs kind of geared a little bit more towards recent grads and alumni. The Alumni Career Bootcamp, which is a fantastic program. Callie DeWald is our Associate Director of Alumni Career Services. And she really helped to put this guide and packet together on different step-by-step guides on just kind of the things to do when you're navigating the career and job search. So really great guide and packet of information. And we also started something called Industry Insiders. We saw a need to directly connect students and alumni with folks in the field. And particularly, we wanted to highlight those industries that might be currently hiring. So we created this panel of alumni panelists. A lot of those we worked with the Office of Alumni Relations in our mentor lab. I worked strongly with Jeremy, Daniel, and we all came together to find great alumni panelists, and they're talking about different careers. So coming up last week, we actually had careers in supply chain and logistics. And previous to that, we had public policy. And then later in July, we're going to have financial technology as the career. So we're excited about that initiative. And some of these are actually going to be extending into the fall. So we're really proud of the series and that just-in-time service we were able to offer, and looking forward to how we can really use some of this virtual programming in the future.
Will the mentorship program still resume operations in the fall?
Yes, and we actually feel like the mentor program will be an even more valuable tool, maybe now more than ever, to help students get connected to alumni, just for that extra support, right? So students can go in and navigate the mentor program, and they can filter and select by their unique interests, perhaps their identity or their ethnicity, as well as just maybe their unique perspective that they may have, and to get connected with the alum who can maybe help them in different ways. So everything from time management tips to a new connection in a specific industry. We really feel like these alumni mentors can open doors and also to help enhance the student experience in college and really beyond. So we're excited that students will still have access to that wonderful program.
So what is the best way for students to contact the Career Center or stay connected with updates?
Yes, we want you to stay connected. We may not be as visible across campus and be in the spaces with you as much as we'd like to be, but we certainly want you to still feel connected to us. So the number one way that you can stay connected to all the upcoming events and programs is to make sure you have Handshake as a trusted sender in your Outlook settings. Handshake is the primary way that we send out emails, is how we send out our newsletter, our weekly newsletter that goes out to students. So just make sure you got those notifications tweaked in your Handshake account, but also make sure that Outlook setting that is a trusted sender. Otherwise, it'll go to your spam, unfortunately. But we also want you to feel connected via social media. So if you have not started following us on Instagram, it is at UGA Career Center. We have a fantastic following. We love interacting with students, so you're going to be prompted with questions and asked for comments. We've done some fun little incentives in the past for t-shirts and things like that. So that's another great way to continue to get information from us, is via Instagram.
All right. How will programming and events change, or what will they look like in the fall for the Career Center?
Yes, this is a great question, and I'm so glad you're asking it. So all events and programs will resume in a virtual capacity this fall. Students will obtain the Arts Ready Professionalism Certificate. That's kind of our marquee programming that we have in our office. We're going to do all of those via Zoom webinars and meetings. We'll also have several tracks or types of programs for Arts Ready, including Industry Insiders, which we're continuing into the fall. Diversity and Inclusion is also a track. We have some express workshops for that 30-minute quick tips on different career topics. And we've also got some small group career sessions. So the purpose of Arts Ready programs is to educate students on how to be successful in the job and internship search, as well as grad school applications, or to maintain or create a professional brand online. And also our new track, Industry Insiders, will have alumni panelists, as I mentioned before, to share their industry experiences with students. And we've also got an opportunity for them to connect virtually through the Zoom meeting platform. So we're really excited to enhance our Arch Ready programming with this new initiative. We think it's going to make some really great connections with alumni. Now, career fairs. We are also going to continue career fairs in a virtual capacity as well through the Handshake Career platform. This means you will just have to access the career fair online or through your Handshake app to be able to access the career fair. And it will look a little bit different from our traditional in-person career fairs where you can show up on the day of, take your time, roaming the grand hall to see all the different employers in session. This will require a bit of preparation. So students will be able to go into the platform and attend a virtual or sign up for a virtual group session with employers. That's going to last 30 minutes. Or they can sign up for a one-on-one session with employers for 10 minutes during the fair. So they will sign up prior to the fair, and we really do strongly encourage students to sign up prior to the fair, although they can absolutely sign up on the day of or even during the fair. You will be able to access it online, again, as I said, or through the Handshake app, and we're just kind of letting students know we're still receiving information on how to best navigate from the student perspective. So keep an eye out on your email. We will be sending out lots of resources and tips to help you feel really confident about this new virtual fair platform. And quick plug, our first virtual career fair is the part-time job and internship fair, which is going to be on August 26th from noon to 3. And again, you'll be able to access that via Handshake.
Perfect. So what advice would you give to incoming students during this time?
I love this question so much. At the Career Center, I think some of our favorite populations to work with are our first and second year students. And I think what we know is the first year is just so overwhelming. There's so many firsts that these students are experiencing. And then on top of that, going through a pandemic, it's really overwhelming. So I think at the Career Center, we just want to remind you, just do your best. Find support from peers, mentors, advisors, faculty, and campus resources, and take advantage of those campus resources. And also, specifically as it relates to the Career Center, just know you don't have to have it together to use our services. I think we hear that a lot. A lot of students think, well, I have to be professional to go to the Career Center. I have to have my resume together. I've got to know exactly what I want to do. That's why we're here, to help you get there. So be sure to attend a virtual drop-in hour, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday with one of our amazing graduate assistants, or schedule a career consulting appointment via Zoom meeting. So all those will be virtual this semester with your specific career consultant, because the bottom line is we just really want you to get to know us and to feel comfortable coming to see us.
Yeah, so what are you most looking forward to in the fall?
I think a lot of departments on campus have been navigating this very interesting time. And I think the thing that has excited me the most is, from this being forced to go online and to go virtual, we have found almost a gap or a need that we've been able to access, which is accessing those alumni across the country who really want to give back to students. So Industry Insiders is a perfect example of that kind of program. It's so exciting to see truly alumni from DC, Chicago, Atlanta, the San Francisco or Bay Area, who want to be able to participate, to share their experiences about their industry, and now for students to have this opportunity to connect with those alum. So I think our mentor program is another highlight of that. We just have so many alum who are truly excited and ready to give back through their time. And that's been really amazing to see.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. And we invite all parents and students to visit career.uga.edu to learn more about the Career Center. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. You are doing a great thing. This is awesome.
So the final department with us today is Transportation and Parking Services. Today we have with us Todd Bourbon, Blaine Van Note, Jeffrey Arthur, and Don Walter. So if you'll please go ahead and introduce yourself, as well as give us some insight into what you oversee within your department.
I'm Don Walter. I'm the Director of Transportation and Parking.
Hi, how are you doing? Todd Bourbon, Associate Director, Transportation and Parking Services.
I'm Jeff Arthur. I'm the Operations Manager, Transportation and Parking Services. I deal with all the buses and the day-to-day operations of the buses.
Hi, I'm Blaine Van Note. I'm the Projects and Special Event Manager for Transportation and Parking Services.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much for those introductions, and we'll go ahead and jump into our questions. So students are wondering, how will social distancing be implemented on the bus system?
Thanks. I think the best thing to do is probably let Todd go over kind of his checklist and so forth, and I think that'll answer a lot of questions. And if it doesn't, we'll amplify it wherever we need to. Todd, you mind sharing your screen and kind of going over how things are going to happen?
We'll do that right now. There we go.
Perfect.
The joy of Zoom, so I apologize for that. So yeah, if you look at the right, it's the actual video that we produced, that our marketing communication produced, but that's a picture from it, showing every other seat blocked off, items like that. And then we have a whole list of the sanitation and safety practices listed on the website as well. And the social distancing piece is, again, one of the biggest questions we're getting consistently. We're going to use backdoor entrance, as it says. The occupancy is limited. We're asking students to adhere to the signage that are on there. While waiting for the bus in the bus stops, everybody should be standing 6 feet apart. And probably the biggest piece is passengers are required to wear face masks at all times.
All right. So the second question we have here is, how have bus routes changed for the fall?
Jeff, you want to cover that one?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Obviously, we had to make some changes to routes due to COVID-19, and we were trying to make some adjustments there. So instead of the longer routes that went through campus before, we've actually tried to shorten those so we can get buses through certain areas a lot more frequently, which will make better for, if we only have 18 to 20 people on a bus, it'll be easier to get several buses through there in that area at the same time, as opposed to 1 or 2. We can have actually 4 through a certain area at a certain time. There's also that extra 5 minutes between classes now. So if there is a bus transfer that someone would need to do, that will help for that time too, to go from one bus route to another. And because most of them are going to be shorter routes, like I said, the time between buses will be a lot less than what people are normally used to as well. So we'll be able to get through campus a lot quicker in some ways due to that as well. And we know just it's an inconvenience, I know, in some ways, for having less people on there, but safety's got to be the top priority every time. And so we designed these routes with that in mind, knowing we're going to have a few less people on there, but we're still trying to move a significant amount of people through campus that we need to.
All right. How will parking be affected, and can you tell us more about Park and Ride?
Go ahead, Blaine.
I'm sorry, man, did you say how will parking be affected, and tell us about the Park and Ride? Okay, great. Well, right now, parking is not affected at all due to the return to campus. What we're trying to establish is are more people are going to attempt to bring a car to campus? Do more people want to drive to campus? But it's not what we're seeing right now. So as of right now, the parking is not affected at all with us coming back to campus. It's pretty empty right now. It'll be pretty full in a few weeks when we do, but we don't anticipate any changes there. The Park and Ride is a parking lot we opened up, excuse me, out on College Station Road last year. And what we have, you park out there. It's our cheapest lot. It's $10 a month. It gets you outside of the perimeter. So when you park out there, you can either walk to campus through through the greenway, or you can actually take one of our buses. And what it does is get you outside the perimeter and maybe even outside a little bit of that traffic that it takes to get out of campus. So it's a popular lot, and what we're going to introduce when we come back in the fall is we did phase 1 and 2 last year. It was about 350 spaces, and phase 3 has been, the construction has been going on right now. So we'll open up phase 3 for fall this year. It'll add an additional 200 plus spaces out there. So we're going to have a lot of room for students to park out there. It's nice. It keeps people out of the center of campus. It keeps people out of the traffic. It's just kind of an easy way to get in and out. And it's also, like I said, our cheapest option for students, faculty, and staff.
And I'm going to add on to Blaine's comments there a little bit too. The Greenway path leads right into the back of the Hodgson School of Music. It leads right onto campus at that point. And there's also our Bulldog bike share is also got a station out there as well. So you also have that option. You can walk, or you can actually rent a bike as well.
All right, so I think that kind of leads to the next question, which is, can you tell us more about the Bulldog bike share?
Todd, do you want to handle it?
I got that. Yeah. So we actually right before we had the situation begin here at spring semester, we actually came into an agreement with Gotcha Bikes. So we have approximately 100 bikes on campus right now through Gotcha. Students are able to get a reduced rate for an annual, monthly pass that you can use throughout the year. It's good for 90 minutes of use at a time. The bikes are electric assist bikes as well, so you have to worry about the hills on campus, which is a win. They're very easy to ride, very easy. You just use your smartphone to tap on it, and off you go. Once you have a registration with Gotcha. Information on that again is also on the website with the rates and how to sign up. Once you do sign up, you can get a bike helmet from our one-stop shop in the center of campus. So they're free if you sign up with a registration, and it's a mandatory, obviously, to have a bike helmet on while you're riding those, especially out on the Greenway and on the streets throughout Athens. But it's a great program. There's 21 stations throughout campus where you can grab one, drop it off throughout everywhere. And as we go through the situation, we also have the ability probably to expand a little bit more and have more bikes based on the popularity that we've even experienced during the closure right now with ridership.
Perfect. So the following questions are going to be kind of for everyone based on your department. So feel free to answer more than one person. So the first question is, how will student employees be following CEC?
I'll let Jeff go ahead and take that one.
Okay, so yeah, so with every employee that we have, they're all be following the same procedures as far as employees go, with sanitizing, washing hands, all those things. And then are you talking about more for student employees, or are you talking about more for students just in general?
Student employees, but students as well.
Yeah. So all our rules and regulations we're going to have for sanitation and things like that will apply to all of our drivers, and whether they're students or whether they're full time. So yeah, we'll have we're making it very safe where they're not going to occupy the building and come into the building a lot. So they'll be able to go straight to the bus and go from there. The buses are sanitized very well throughout the day, also every night as well. So we'll have, our drivers will have masks. They'll also have a separation in the back as well. And then they'll have a shield that they can pull down as well. So there's a lot of things we're doing to protect the drivers as well as protect all the passengers as well. And then having that everybody go through the back door also helps to keeping the distance as well, to keep everything running smoothly as well there. So we'll have every UGA employee gets the 2 masks that are going to be issued to them as well. And they'll have gloves and sanitizer wipes to be able to wipe down all those high touch areas throughout the day. We'll also have some handheld misting machines that throughout the day our supervisor will go through the buses and sanitize through there too. So we're really going to do a lot to make sure everything is taken care of there, make sure our employees, student employees, as well as the full-time employees and all of our passengers are taken care of.
What other precautions should be taken for the safety and well-being of students who utilize your services?
I think I can take that one. We've done everything that we can possibly think of, and we're also getting a lot of transportation recommendations from the CDC and the Federal Transit Administration, et cetera. We've implemented every single one of those. We have heavy-duty desanitizing machines, microparticle type machines that we're going to take through the buses every single night, and also in parking, like in the stairwells, et cetera. We were able to obtain 9,000 additional face masks from the Federal Transit Administration that we can hand out to passengers. We have large disinfectant jugs on the bus that people can use for their hands. And as Jeff mentioned, our employees, both student and full-time, are really going to be separated almost the entire day. There should be very little social interaction between employees or between employees and students. We're disappointed in this because we love to have student interaction. Our drivers are people who work in parking, people who work in the booths. I can't tell you how much that's the most enjoyable part of their job, is to be able to help students and customers. It's just not going to be as much as it was before. And we're still going to help every possible way we can, answer questions. The new reality is that we can't put 70 passengers on a bus anymore. We're going to have to put 20, and it's going to make it, a little more difficult. But now there's 20 minutes in between classes, and I really encourage people to either walk or ride a bike. I did an experiment not too long ago, and I'm 61 years old with 2 bad knees. And I walked from the north deck to Joe Frank Harris in 20 minutes. So it's possible to walk almost anywhere you need to go on campus. And you can bike about 3 times as fast as you can walk, and you can get almost anywhere you want on campus riding a bike. Bulldog bikes are pretty awesome. I rode them myself. I thought it was a lot of fun. They're almost too powerful, but it's a good way to get around. And then as far as parking goes, we still have permit availability, and I'd recommend to students. We have a lot of students who just they made choices in lots where they don't have priority. We have a priority system. If you're a commuter student and apply for a faculty staff lot, you're probably not going to get it. On the same token, if you're a faculty member who applies for a student commuter lot, you're probably not going to get that either. So I'd encourage students to go back, and if they still need a permit, look at the peach-colored lots on our website, on our maps, and apply for those. If you're an undergraduate student, apply for those peach-colored lots. Excuse me. Anybody have anything else to add?
Great. Following up with that, how can students stay connected with all the updates within your department?
The best way is to keep checking the website. That it's getting updated almost daily at this point now, because there's been so many changes going on. Also, our auxiliary marketing and communication team we do have the Facebook, the Twitter, those links as well. So all the social media platforms are controlled by our auxiliary marketing and communications, and they're doing the updates on there as well.
In the same token, Amanda, I mean, is there anything that you would suggest as the best way to communicate with students? I mean, we email, we do social media. What's the best way?
I think social media and email is kind of where students would most likely gravitate towards. So makes sense to me. You have my approval, if that makes any sense.
Thanks.
All right, and following up with that, what advice would you give to incoming students during this time?
Well, I think I just gave a lot of advice ahead of time. But I would also say that, you know, we work like on the new bus routes with student government. I know they sent out a survey and we tried to have as much engagement as we could. We know that everything it's not going to be 100% right. We're going to have to make some adjustments, same as we do every year. And I would encourage students to send us emails and say, here's the issue that we're having. And the more specific you can be, the better. You know, getting an email that transportation is terrible, there's not a whole lot we can do about that. But if you tell us I need to get from point A to point B at this time, and I'm having a hard time doing that, we can certainly communicate some options, or maybe even change things. So I'd recommend to students that if you're having difficulties, we'll listen. May not always agree with you, but we'll listen and try to. We know that if you reach out to us, you're in need, and we'll try to help you as we can. And email is probably the best way to do that.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. Is if you do an email, we generally can answer that within 24 hours. If not a little bit longer, but generally within 24 hours, the person will respond and get a response to any request or anything like that through the emails that are available.
And just to piggyback on, you say, what advice would we give to incoming students? I would just say to try to, you know, kind of manage your expectations for this year, because it's going to be different. Returning students, it's going to be different than what they experienced before. I mean, campus wide. So, and just to try to be, I mean, this is kind of the message we're conveying to our staff when we're coming back is we're all going to need to be flexible and adaptable, because we don't really know what changes are going to happen. You know, we have plans in place, but those could change really quickly. So we need to be flexible and adaptable, and just kind of manage, what kind of expectations we have for ourselves and for our experience for this year.
I'll just follow up with that too. I think, being flexible, but also just being understanding, knowing that we really have put a lot of time, energy, and effort to this to make sure we can try to move as many people through campus to make sure they're taken care of in every way possible. There may be some things that we can improve upon once we kind of get going, but it's definitely a different time. Those that are returning that have been here before, it's going to be like it's the first time on campus to a certain extent, because I have to learn a lot of new things. But those coming in for the first time too, they may already have some expectations after they visited campus. Things may be a little bit different with the distancing and the way that some of the things are run. But know that not just auxiliary services, but all of UGA has to make some major changes to make sure everybody's safe. And that's really the ultimate goal at the end of the day. So if you see a change that you don't like and it's frustrating, know that it's not meant to be frustrating. It's meant to be for safety. And we really are trying to look out for that and take care of not our employees, but also look out for everybody that visits the campus, including the students and everything else.
Yes, I mean, anything you send to parking at UGA edu or one-stop shop at uga.edu goes to our customer service representatives that can help.
I know on the transit side, I'm sorry.
No, Jeff, I was pointing to you. Yeah.
I was saying on the transit side, I know we have on our website, we have a feedback form, and all that generates through there. You can put information there, and then our supervisor will get those emails, and we'll be able to work. It'll basically generate a ticket that we can work on that. So anything sent through there, we were able to view those and be able to get back to them as well. And there's cards inside the hanging up inside the buses that have a website you can get to give us that feedback as well.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to speak with us today. We invite all parents and students to visit tps.uga.edu to learn more about transportation and parking services. And with that, I would also like to thank all of our guests who attended and spoke about how the university will be adapting this fall. Should you have any additional questions, please do not hesitate to visit the sites on the screen, DM us on social media, or email your senator. And I hope you all have a wonderful week and good dogs. Thank you.